What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again, once more, as usual, right? In this fine day that we're having, right? And of course, in this particular video, I'm gonna try to, right, update each other pertaining what is unfolding in the geopolitics, economics, and whatever, right? Current state, right? Trying to give a snapshot, so to speak, right? So, before we get to the slides, I want to issue a copyright disclaimer, right, for the copyright material that's going to be shared in this here video, right? So, yeah, without further ado, let's slide into the slides, right? You know, I'm built of questions. Like, let's just say this. The biggest question I have is, I bet they did not consult no nigga about this. Okay, I know they did not consult any Negro that this was okay. They did not. Okay? Well, it's not that Nigeria is incapable of handling this situation, just like Burkina Faso, just like Mali. It's a matter of organization, but this system of democracy has been a breeding ground for animosity, and that animosity turns to bureaucracy, and that bureaucracy turns to basically economic stagnation, and everything else stagnates after that. So what is the underlying issue here? The issue of corruption, and this is just a single case. So what do you expect a UN to come to solve every kidnapping case that happens in your country? Why don't you like outsource your investigations while you're at it? This is ridiculous. This is a slippery slope. If you want to keep your sovereignty, then learn how to solve your issues. Don't accept interventions and stuff. You can't just have another country just bombing your country just like randomly like that, you know. And there are celebrations and stuff. Well, this unity is going to be the fall of many. I'm going to tell you that. Because really, what's the opposite? In this ever dynamic environment that we're living in. The truth exists. You don't need the UN to tell you the truth. You're afraid to say the truth. Why? Again, because you know the environment is hostile. But you gotta do it if you're truly a leader. If there are officials involved in these kidnappings like I've heard, then they need to be investigated. So, let's talk about the so-called AI race. AI token economy revolution creates new China tech winners. The market remains hyper-competitive with new players all the time, and the deeper-pocketed, larger firms are not sitting still. According to the data from LLM distribution platform OpenRouter, the 3 most used model by token consumption this month were all Chinese. Xiaomi, Mimo, Alibaba, Qwen, and DeepSeek. Among smaller firms, Minimax has 2 models in the top 10, while Chinese startups StepFan has 1. AI token usage has risen rapidly in China, with daily AI token consumption surging more than 100,000-fold in just 2 years, rising from around 100 billion token a day at the start of 2024 to 100 trillion by the end of last year, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. I'm not seeing a lot of slope coming from China, Right? Those are some. They are part of the chain of production. Alibaba CEO Brian Chesky called Chinese AI fast and cheap. Now Congress wants answers. Coinbase is defaulting its engineers to Chinese AI models to cut costs. The model in question, GLM 5.2, is within point of cloud Opus on benchmark at a fifth of the price. Between the lines, Microsoft exploring secured version of China-built DeepSeek V4 to power Copilot Cowork, its agentic assistant and most compute-hungry part of Microsoft 365, right? In efficiency. Shows that even the richest software company on earth can't hold the line on closed America-only models. You probably can't either. Why 80% of US AI startups switch to Chinese models? I think clue is in the startup and cost. OpenAI and Anthropic face new AI reality as users shift from token maxing to efficiency. We did it. You couldn't see that cost curve go down, like crash to the ground. Cleveland said in an interview from his company San Francisco headquarters. He said the decision will save Lindy millions of dollars within months. Though he still expects the roughly 25% company to spend more on AI than payroll. These are new realities. Not the future, but current. Okay, no wonder these people are hiring the people they fired back, and they should, without any shame. Right? It was a miscalculation. The idea looked great, but nah. Okay? It is a matter of survival for the business. That's what he said. Socialism means us. Us all. Us and always forever. Capitalism is me and now. It's true. It permeates even in politics and everything. Right? It's a disease because it shapes the mind, because it influences one of the most important aspects of human life, which we have to abandon these things. It takes will for everybody to be provided, for everybody to be fed. If that's not what we are aspiring to, then I don't know what's the point. Right? I might as well just put this whole thing to rest now. Right? And maybe when this whole thing crumbles down, maybe we start again. Is that what people want? Because it is. Right? In countries that are doing well, the prices are creeping up. Right? They are creeping up. In countries that are doing worse, then it's exponential. And the outcry is everywhere, even in countries that are doing well, or rather can be considered stable. Right? It's because capitalism is like a whole bubble within itself, filled with air that we call money, and it's meant to pop, right? And the economists have knowledge about this phenomenon. Now I don't know why they haven't done anything to overcome it, but hey, here we are, right? What is happening now is just inevitable after this whole system of capitalism was accepted. So it's gonna be hard, really, really hard to fix capitalist nations. Even nations with, I don't know, attributes of capitalism, they're gonna fall into problems. Why? Because it's me, me, me. People are blind to the bigger picture. They haven't figured out that if all of us have, then none will need, right? None will be on want. Eh? And it's possible. It's greed. I'm gonna tell you this, right? Those in power and those not in power. There's gonna be questions, to why we didn't even attempt. Right? And it all comes down to the question of purpose, Yeah, they're everywhere, brothers and sisters. We're not accusing them of anything. We know they are. So when you see American meddling, then that's definitely Mossad's involved in there. That's how it goes. And by the people they target, it tells you exactly who is behind. Right? So they expose themselves by the targets they choose. Right? So trouble in European countries that were critical of them, or critical of the war, let's just say that, which is them. Meddling in elections everywhere, even here in Tanzania. They're using proxies from America and Europe to masquerade their operations. So, some new updates from South Africa. (9/11). I don't think Mr. John Stewart understand what he's asking for. This chicken here trying to lay eggs. Let me move. Right? The chaos that this whole ordeal will bring about for them. So of course, I'm not shocked, I'm not surprised, and you shouldn't be neither. Well, the people are seeing the net is closing in as their supposed freedom is evaporating. I have many questions. So, all of these attacks, what about them? Are they real or are we hallucinating and stuff? Well, this happens every now and then, right? He does something absurd. The last time it was a whole marriage that was broken because of his photography sessions. How I say it, the one being robbed here is Chris himself. Right? As long as he remains single, he becomes the potential to everybody. Anybody can, especially women, fantasize. That's more lucrative for the system than him being in a relationship, losing the funds, and it's happening everywhere, trust me. Well, people went digging. Let's just say that. Now she's playing dumb, like she ain't know anything. After everything is undoing itself. The good thing that came out of this is that there will be incredible pushback the next time they try to pull something like this. And now it's up to them now to regain the trust of other Africans. Now it's a big problem for them. Clean. Yeah, it seems to be the new narrative, right? The word communism now, it's a trigger word, right? Now I know these people are old people running this operation, right? Because for the boomers, right, maybe the ones that came after that, maybe they will be triggered by this word communism and have fear for it, right? Because back then there were different times. But now it's not gonna work, right? The Gen Zs, okay, they are not frightened of communism, right? They have real fears, more immediate fears than communism. So maybe, as they say, it's a campaign call or something. Again, they're back at it, right? So if anything happens to the elections, probably the Russians or the Chinese or maybe the Iranian hackers, so you know, they are laying down the foundation, yeah? And again, laying down the foundation. If you do not accept the fact that it was the Chinese and stuff, right? They don't just, these events just don't pick up all of a sudden, brothers and sisters, okay? They just don't pick up like that, right? When they are needed. You know, just like, I don't know, Batman or something, you know, coming out of the shadows at the perfect moment. Right? This whole immigration situation was somebody's platform. Right? People use this as a platform to get elected and stuff, right? So they need you to unite with them against immigrants in China and Russia and Iran. Please choose us. That's how it goes. Yeah. A lot is happening over there. And now Israel is just fighting by proxy. It's so obvious. I wonder what would happen if the so-called bill to unite the Israeli and the American forces, will then Israel become a legitimate target? I wonder. Because now, because the reality is this, Iran, the damage, or rather the exchange, is leaning on your side, right? Targets and value. Unequal. Because now the US is fighting for Israel. That's obvious. They are crafty, eh? So you need to find a way to equalize. That is gonna be your struggle. Because that's what I predicted, and that's what is happening now. All of the court turns are gonna be activated from everywhere. They've even put pressure on governments not to intervene on their movements. The good thing is that it's always going to be large scale, and if it's going to be large scale, then all you need is intelligence on logistics to know who's going to move next, who is up in line. So next time I want to see a counter-offensive. Right? And it's always the neighbors. Right? Even going to Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, it's always the neighbors that provide and pave way. Right? 10,000 fighters cannot just pop out of nowhere, you know, with machine guns and, right? I even saw armored vehicles and stuff. Right? Seriously? Right? An armored vehicle and a personnel carrier. Right? The amphibious kind. They went with them into the desert to fight with them. And you're telling me that these movements were not detected by anybody? The neighbors did not see anything? Like, seriously, brothers and sisters, are we accepting this? Are all the security forces and intelligence assets like that porous? Is that what we're going with? Well, I'm not willing to accept that. Well, that's the end of the slides, right? So, this war with Russia and all of them headed to China, and their companies going to China, everywhere, even Europe, is the same thing. I don't believe the narrative. The narrative is a lie. Let's just say that. So, color revolutions, that's what it is. Right? Firepower is not enough. So, coups, that's the way. So, anyway, I'm gonna put a pin on it right there. And, of course, we shall hear from each other when we hear from each other. Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.